So, Mabel and I were invited by wonderful longtime friends of ours, Andrew and Sonia, for Thanksgiving, where they were celebrating a major milestone on their project. Andrew and Sonia, together with their partners, are building a big hospital in one of the Kampala suburbs, which will house many things, but he's talking about 200 beds, 4 intensive care units, and everything that comes with a world class hospital. Anyhow, we went for the Thanksgiving, and many people attended. We got an opportunity to meet longtime friends that we were with at university, had a lot of joking and laughing, and the MC was cracking a lot of jokes. And then it came to time for food. And this is actually why I thought of sharing this video. When it came to time for food, we were served. There was a plenty of food and drinks. But when the eating started, I could hear everyone going like, oh my God, this is so nice. This is very good. And even as I bit into my meat, it was so tasty, so tender, very soft. I hadn't eaten this kind of meat at a party or an event before. And I picked interest. I got curious. I went to the kitchen to find out who cooked the food. Uh, to my pleasant surprise, it was someone who is well known to me, someone I was at university with. It was SP. And I was excited to know that it was SP cooking the food for Andrew and Sonia's event, and it is us friends enjoying a good meal. So I picked interest and started asking him about how he's able to cook, to barbecue or smoke this very tender, soft taste beef. And SP is very passionate about cooking. He's very passionate about grilling and doing barbecue. He went on and was telling me mesmerizing things about meat. And further, I actually picked interest because I felt like this is something that I could share with friends of mine that follow me on social media. Good meat. So I visited SP's home, and I was interested in how does he prepare this meat? What is the process involved? I believe the world would like to know what is it about slow cooking and smoking beef. And so I visited SP's home and did a short interview so I could have him tell the world about his slow smoked beef, which him and I are choosing to give a name as BBQ and SP. So here he is.
Well, I personally enjoy a good bite of meat. I enjoy my meat, like really, really enjoy it. And there's certain things I look for when I'm eating meat. One, it needs to be tender. It needs to be moist and tasty, of course. And I want to taste the meat, not the other things that go with it. And over time, I realized that as I've experimented, cooking different meats and so on and so forth, I realized that most meat is okay. It's tasty, but it's tough. It's chewy. It's overly burnt. For barbecue or for grilling and so on. And I began a journey of trying to improve what we had, and one thing began to emerge that the longer we cooked the meat away from direct heat, the better the results. Whether you're doing it in the oven or something, so you protect the meat somehow. And I think that that's how I fell in love with the smoker, because with the smoker, I am not putting my meat directly over the fire, it is beside the heat source. And then it takes time. And I mean, that's a whole science and that's a whole process where the meat takes a while. But I also realize that by the time your meat is ready, the bite that you take, tender, juicy, moist, and all of those things, it goes back to where you are buying your meat and how it's cut I mean, different parts of the animal, the carcass, will taste different, will cook differently. And so typically when I'm buying meat, I need to be there in person to make sure that this is the part I want and I want it cut like this. And then we go through a process of prep. Sometimes we season, we marinate, we culture the meat, whichever what you want to use. It's really a process of introducing flavors, but tenderizing the meat. We'll use basic things: black pepper, salt, and then thyme, and other things that you would like to, depending on how you like your meat to taste, spicy or sweet or whatever it is. Now, also understanding what does what in the meat is helpful. But usually I will buy the meat a minimum of 3 days. If I'm doing it crush, 24 hours, where we do a marinade. Sometimes it is fully immersed in a liquid, or it is a dry based rub. We call them rubs. And then we cover it, put it in the refrigerator, not the freezer. And then that just allows it to soak in. The meat soaks it in. A couple of things are happening during that time. The meat is tenderizing, it's receiving flavor, and we're getting ready. When that process is done, then we're ready to smoke. Put it in the smoker. Once the meat is ready, 3, 7 days, whatever time, then it's ready for the smoker. A couple of things to note is that the meat needs to cook for a certain amount of time within a certain temperature. So I'm not eyeballing anything. Because I'm looking for certain results consistently, I have to cook the meat at a certain temperature. So this is where your thermometers come in very handy, so the temperature at which you're cooking. Now, even in the cook process, at a certain time, you will know when to pull the meat out. And then when it's ready, I do what is called you wrap. I sauce and wrap. Now, during the time of that cook, I have a solution, that you keep using, that I keep using to keep just doing that, every other so often. It keeps it moist and stuff. But when it is ready, 165 internal Fahrenheit, I pull it out and then I get foil paper and I wrap it, I dress it completely. And that is the point where if I have a barbecue sauce, which we make, that is where I introduce the barbecue sauce. This one, okay, this is good. This got finished, but this is a barbecue sauce that we make here to add flavor and taste. Now, when it is wrapped in the foil, what's happening is that if the meat has been charred and has somehow dried, putting it in the foil allows it, number one, to continue to cook, to steam, so that it moistens further and continues the process of cooking. That will go for another 2 or 3, even 4 hours, while it's doing that at a bit much more lower temperatures. Now, when that process is complete, your meat is basically ready. And then at that point is when I will take it out and then do what is the last process that is called resting the meat. So that resting is allowing the meat to come to a eating temperature so that you're not eating it hot. But also what resting does, remember, when it's been in this hot environment, it's basically been, the pressure to lose moisture is very high. And so when you pull it out, because it's tending towards dryness, when we pull the meat out at that point and let it rest, it begins, like how you've been running and then you stop, you are sweating. All of these moistures that have been on pressure then begin to be released. They get to be reintroduced into the meat. And then at that point is when we are ready to serve. It is eating temperature. The meat is moist. It's juicy. It's tender. And that's a process that repeats again and again and again.
Friends, I know the images in this video are very enticing and appetizing. And some of you might already be feeling like, I would like to taste that meat. I want to eat some nice meat. I will not deny you the chance. I will share with you SP's contacts, which are +256 743 112547 or +256 787 623 203. Thank you for watching. Kindly like, comment or share on your socials, and please subscribe to the channel to watch other videos that are already there and some interesting videos to come.